Welcome to this Sunday's Brunch Dharma, 17th of May. This morning I'm going to talk about a bit more detail into the third khandha, sanya, perception. We want to investigate this perception, how it operates in our world, how it affects our life, and how do we deal with it. Well, the first thing is that when we are born with this craving for satisfaction, craving for pleasure. So when we are a little baby, we do not know anything about the world. We see things upside down. We actually see things upside down. Then we learn, the world is not upside down. When we actually see things, they are just two little small images at the back of our eyes. Right? It's upside down and it's laterally inverted. Most of you who have seen a pinhole camera, who have done a little bit of optics, will know that. Now with these two little images, we form this three-dimensional world. Right? So what we actually see, this world is within our mind, a projection of our mind. It's hard to believe, that this 3D world is a projection of our mind. The only way I can convince you is that when you are dreaming at night, your mind creates a world and put you in it. And you do not know that you are in your dream until you wake up. So those two experiences, although slightly different, have some similarity. The mind creates this three-dimensional world. That's the power of the mind, creating something. So when we're born, we see the world as upside down. We don't really know much about things, We handle things and then we try to find out whether we can eat it or not. We put it in our mouth, and see what it tastes like. Right? So slowly we come to know that there are things we can eat, things like shoe we can't eat, So we learn about things in the world. Now, we have to create a kind of identity, something to identify with the things outside in the world. So when we are a baby growing up, we start creating everything in this world, We create an image of the shoe, we know what the shoe tastes like, we know it cannot be eaten, different sizes of shoe, or what it smells like. So that's our identity of the shoe. Then we have our own identity of ice cream, what it feels like, what it tastes like in the mouth. We do not know what is good and what is bad, what tastes good and what tastes bad. Then our parents tell us, this tastes good, this is no good. Then we learn this kind of taste is good. So we identify it, that this type of taste is good. So our tastes are conditioned. So we start building identities of everything that we know in the world. So as soon as we see something, we want to know what it is. You have to know what it is. You want to use it. We want to take pleasure out of it. So we keep doing things, doing this creation of identities for things we do not know. Now when we grow up, we don't stop doing this creation. The world doesn't stop this creation. I remember the time, when we go out to buy bread. It's simple, somebody asks you to go and buy bread, and you just go out and you buy a white loaf of bread. But now it's complicated. Now it's not just white bread, you've got brown bread, seeded bread, unseeded bread, bread with different types of seed. And if you go into the supermarket, you find on the shelves, there's so many types of bread. Just buying bread itself is difficult. You got to ask the person, what type of bread do you want? Seeded, unseeded, and so on. So we creating new stuff to enjoy, new things, new taste, new recipes. When we run out of ideas, we create a fusion recipe, recipe from one culture, mix it with another culture, call it fusion, and see whether people like it or not. We keep on creating because we want something new taste, new satisfaction, new pleasure. That is just the taste. And we do this for all our 6 senses. Right? We create painting, different types of painting. We have the old masters. We have the Impressionists. We have Cubism, and so on. And when you come to think of paintings, what it actually is a piece of canvas, and they splatter some blobs of paint on it, and then your mind make up something for it. If you want it, you got to pay a lot of money for it, tens of millions for it, for Picasso or for Van Gogh or Mondrian. And that's what you pay. You pay for something which you create in your own mind. Well, that things help. And you get pleasure of it. You get pleasure of seeing the Mondrian, all this painting. But that pleasure comes from your own creation. The artist knows how to put all the paints together to make your mind see in a particular way. With music, in the beginning you have classical music, you have pop music, you have punk music, and rap music, and so on. And so on. And that's because some of us want to listen, to enjoy listening. If you go on in every big mall or big department store, the ground floor is usually for perfume. Different types of perfume. You want to smell good, smell in different ways. So they use horse urine and all this different types of chemical. So what we are paying are not the actual stuff in itself. What you're actually paying is for those little images which become identities. You're paying for that. You're paying for those images, for those identities. And then the last time I come to know about this journey to the West, there are about more than 5 versions of it, you know, and they recycle it, make it a different storyline, and just for you to enjoy, for the mind to enjoy it. When you see it on a television screen, on your mobile phone, what you see is just passing images. That's all. And sound coming out. But we make a story out of it. We create emotions out of it. We enjoy it. We are addicted to it. And all the things that we are addicted to are all these identical. Yeah. A good story is also something we create. The mind creates. The next thing we're going to have is virtual reality. That's really scary. Right? We'll be hooked onto it, and before long we'll be like the story in the Matrix, you know. Just hook it up, you know, and that's it. And feed our body, you know, with tubes, you know, just to get the body going and just satisfy the mind. So the problem is with all these identities that we create. You enjoy these identities. When it comes to taste, you know, when something tastes chili hot, does it taste nice? Half the population of the world will say yes, half the population of the world will say no. Given the taste of durian, half the population will say it's fantastic, half will say awful. So it's all conditioning. It's all relative. There's no real essence, you know, in things. We make them all up. So the solution is that we got to unmake all those things. We got to deconstruct this mental identity. We have to reduce the power of this mental identity. One of the first the teaching which the Buddha teaches us regarding the body, which we are obsessed with. We are obsessed with the image of the body. So the Buddha tells us that the body is just made up of 32 parts. Don't make anything more than it. An eye is an eye. Doesn't matter what shape it is. Right? So we have to go back and reduce that identity to something very universal. Something that just shapes, colors, and its functionality. That's it. Or we can reduce it further. That the eye is made out of just the 4 great elements. When we do that, then we totally get rid of the identity. When you come to think of shape, you know, there isn't anything called shape, you know. It is the boundary between something solid and the air, and we call it a shape. Now, all these mental identities live within our mind, created by causes us problem. When we fear it, like ghosts, when we are attached to it, like our girlfriend or spouse or boyfriend, right? Those are the things. They are not real. They are created by our mind. This is something we want to actually see. We may understand it, but we want to make the heart see, right? Because the heart is the one, is the master. The heart creates the mind, creates the emotion, which creates the thinking. So when we see something, we want to know, first of all, that there is a physical thing out there, and there is something else that we create, which is our mental identity. When we are watching a film, we want to know, yes, there's something on the screen, physically, flashing light. But the story, the emotions, the characters of the people, the hero, heroine, bad guys, good guys, everything is created by our mind. We get scared of it. So when you come to see that most of the things that you are attached to, you value, comes from your identity, comes from something that you create. So how valuable is that thing? How trustworthy is that thing? How real is that thing? You want to think for yourself. Do you want that thing? Do you want to pay for that thing? Do you want that thing to cause agitation in your mind, in your heart? Do you want those things to cause you suffering in terms of fear and attachment? So you want to keep this in mind. Whatever that's causing you, the problems in you, are nothing but your own creation, your mind's creation. That's why the Buddha cannot reduce your suffering. You have to see those identities yourself, to know that they are just identities. You create yourself, you create the world of suffering and happiness and live in it. No one can undo that creation for you. You have to do it yourself. Not even the Buddha. The Buddha can tell you how to undo this thing. Well, there's a sutta called the Bahia Sutta. The story goes that this Bahia had been practicing for a long time, and then he thought to himself, well, I'm an arahant now, you know. And then it so happens when he was thinking, there was a devata who used to be one of his blood relatives. So the devata wants to help him and says, he said, Bahia, you're not an arahant. You're not even on the path of arahant. You don't even know the way of becoming an arahant. So Bahia asks, who knows the way? Then he says, somewhere in Savatthi, there's the Buddha who is an arahant. Go and ask him, he'll tell you the way. So Bahiya is somebody whose practice of meditation is very, very deep, very fine. So he went to the Buddha. At that time, the Buddha was just going out on Pindapat. And then the Bahiya asked the Buddha said, Bahiya, this is not the time. So Bahiya, says, kept on asking for the third time. So the Buddha says, Bahiya, this is the way you practice. With reference to the scene, there is only the scene. With reference to the heard, there is only the heard. With reference to the sense, there is only the sense. With reference to the cognized, there is only the cognized. And when you have practiced that, when you come to know that with reference to the scene, there is only the scene. When you come to know with reference to the heard, there is only the heard. With reference to the sense, there is only the sense. And so on. Then there is no you there. There is no you anywhere there. There is no you here, nor yonder, nor in between. And that is the end of stress. And of course, by here, just practice and then you get enlightened. And that's the path. He can teach it to Bahaya because his mind is ready for that insight. We have to do it slowly. So we have to see, with reference to the scene, there is only the scene. What does it mean? It means whatever we see, that it is, that's images. If we touch it, then we know, yes, there's something solid out there. When you hear something, that's sound. But we make it up, it's a bird sound. No, it's a frog sound. No, it's a lizard sound. Then we start making out, it's awful, it's nice. That's it. So when we start seeing something more than what it is, hearing something more than what it is, then we start creating this whole world of mental identity. When we create a world, we also create ourselves. There is always the object and the subject. We go through our lives creating who we are. I'm like this, I'm like that, I look like this, I look like that. Not enough. Your parents tell you what you are like. Not enough. Your teacher tells you what you are like. Your friends tell you what you are like. Your enemies tell you what you are like. You read a book, they tell you what you are like. So what are you like? A bundle of confusion. What you are, it's just a mental identity that you created for yourself, for others. Don't trust them. They are partially true because you have tendencies. Don't let them cause you suffering. Don't work on your identity and say your identity are you and then suffer. Don't work on somebody else's identity and suffer because you do not like that person, the identity you have created for that person. You all listening to Bhante here, all of you have an identity of what Bhante is like. There are 50 people watching and listening. There are 50 identities, all different. They may have the same common denominator. They are all identical, and they're not sure. To get to the end, you want to see things as they are. When you see things as they are, then things don't have spells on you. You're disenchanted with things. And things don't have spells on you, there are spells on you, then you're dispassionate with things. You don't have the passion for things. You were born with that passion for things, to play with, to enjoy, to get satisfaction. Now you know, right, that the things that you get satisfaction from is not the things themselves. They are your own creation from when you were born, when you come into the world, when you have to know the world, when you have to operate in the world, when you have to live in the world. So when you know that, and you know that all these mental identities of everything in the world cause you tremendous suffering, then you become dispassionate with it. Once you become dispassionate with it, then you can let it go. You're liberated from it. You stick with things as they are. You stick with what is used for, its functionality, what its color is, so you can identify what its shape is. So it doesn't matter whether it's a stool or it's a side table. It doesn't matter. So that's how you should investigate the sanya. That's how you want to look into sanya and know that it causes you problems. And you do not want to trust your perception too much, what you've created. Okay, now you've listened to the Dhamma, you've got merit, understand it a bit, you got a little bit more merit. Go home, investigate it. Or you're at home, investigate it. Straighten the view, you get more merit. This merit will help you. Now with this merit, you want to get extra bonus merit by transferring the merit to your departed relative. So I'm going to chant the transference of merit, and then you want to think about your departed relatives so you can transfer your merit to them and help them. Yatha varivaha pura pare purenti sagara miva ito dinam petanam upakapati ichitam patitam tumham kipamiva sami chatu sape purentu sangapa Chandopana rasu yatha manijoti rasu yatha sapitiyo vivajantu saparogo vinasatu mate pavanvantarayo sukidika yuko bhava apivatana sili sanitam buddha pacayino Chataro Dhammava Tantiyayuvano Sukhang Balang Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanupavena Satha Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata สัพพธัมมานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภาวันตุเตภวตุสัพพมังคลังอาคันตุสัพพเทวตาสัพพสังฆานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสติภาวันตุเต